Governor Newsom is now speaking. Let's listen to that live.
Reconcile our ideals and the reality that so many experience each and every day. I come to you almost each and every day talking about values, talking about principles that transcend. It's a point of deep pride for me as a fifth-generation Californian that I live, like 40 million others, in the most diverse state in the world's most diverse democracy. It's a point of pride, and it's also a point of privilege, because I often reflect on the fact that this state is, in so many respects, America's coming attraction. The future happens here first. We talk in universal terms in the state of California, 27% of this state being foreign-born, a majority-minority state. You've heard me on ad nauseum occasions wax on about the lessons that I learned growing up and the impact so many faith leaders had on my life. Father Cause at Santa Clara University reminding us that the Bible teaches us we're many parts but one body. And when one part suffers, we all suffer. It's reminded those words today, yesterday, day before, as I reflected in a very poignant way on what happened tragically a few days ago to George Floyd, when my kids grabbed me before I got out of the car coming home. They were in their pajamas, my 10-year-old with my wife's cell phone in hand, and somehow she had gotten onto TikTok, and she was teared up, and she wanted to talk to me about this incident. And she had the video on this TikTok of a police officer, a white police officer. His knee was at the neck of a young man who was desperate to breathe. And my daughter wanted to make sure I saw it. And she was trying to reflect, 10 years old, on what it meant. And here she was tearing up because she knew it was wrong. My son, 8 years old, said, "It's not just wrong, Dad. It's worse than wrong." He said, because bad people are supposed to be bad, but good people are supposed to be good. That's what makes this wrong. And no sooner did he do that, Dutch, my 4-year-old, said, "That's not right, Hunter. Police officers are good people," and he ran away. My daughter, Brooklyn, true story, by the way, my daughter, Brooklyn, just started to break down completely and ran away herself, said, "I can't talk about all this." That's before I even walked into the house. 4 young kids trying to come to grips with what millions of Americans are trying to come to grips with. Not lost on me the privilege of that conversation. Not lost on me the privilege of being governor, privilege of my background, privilege that my kids have in terms of their upbringing, the fact that they're white, the fact that unlike so many of their friends, so many of my closest friends, they don't have to raise their kids. I don't have to raise my kids like my friends' kids are raised, and so many other millions of Americans' kids are raised to, be in a car pulled over and need to put their hands on the wheel, not to go out with a hoodie on, not even curb, have that conversation at my home. But it's a conversation people are having all across this country for decades and decades and decades and decades, and it seemingly just doesn't end. When will it end? Here we are faced with that question yet again in deep and profound and emotional ways. And you start to appreciate, I've been in an elected office for decades now, that program passing a law, you're not solving problems. You got to change culture. You got to change people's hearts and minds. It's not just laws on the books. We have got to fundamentally change who we are and recognize what we're capable of being. My wife and I, after that incident, my wife, who's been a champion for the cause of equality in this state and in our nation, has written about it, directed a number of documentaries in this space, reminded me about the most foundational value which she thinks we need to express, and that is a recognition that we have a country that predominantly values power, dominance, and aggression over care, empathy, and collaboration. That the predominant values we seem to be so attracted to as a nation, they're not serving us anymore. Power, dominance, and aggression. over care, collaboration, and empathy. That struck a chord with me. She's been saying it for years, but it strikes a chord at this moment in particular. And I think we would all be wise to consider that we have the capacity to be more caring, to be more empathetic, and to be more collaborative. And so this moment weighs heavily, I know, in the hearts of so many. There's deep anger, there's deep frustration, there's deep fear. And I can attest to that, but only intellectually. One of my oldest friends, Derek Smith, he just sent me a picture of his son, who I knew since he was born. He just graduated from USC. That same kid, no less than 4 years ago, before he was graduating from a high school in Marin County, was pulled over by the local sheriff for no other reason than he was driving with his brother in a car, and he happened to be black. I remember Derek calling me in panic, lighting up my phone, saying, need to talk to you, need to talk to you. And I said, what's the problem? He goes, I need you to call the sheriff right away. I can't take it anymore. And he starts tearing up. He said, I can't take it anymore, because it's hardly his first experience or his kid's first experience. You know, just that wasn't caught on videotape. That was just a day in the life of that one child and just another family. Happens every single day all across this country. We are so much better than that. And so I sit here deeply humbled, a bit emotional about this moment, and deeply resolved to try to meet it head on and try to do more and do better. I couldn't be more proud of this state in that space. I talked to Dr. Shirley Weber today. She reminded me it was 1 year ago today that the California Assembly passed a landmark police use of force bill, AB 392. It was a year ago today that passed the Assembly. And how proud we all were of her and a coalition behind her that included law enforcement, that met that moment a year ago to work together across their differences in a collaborative spirit to recognize that we could do more and do better on the issue of training our police officers on implicit bias. And we could do more to provide the support and resources to truly train our police officers, not mandate certain things without supporting that change of behavior. We've made a lot of progress in this state, but my gosh, I was reminded again even this morning, incident down in San Diego, a young man on a bench. Details of that are insignificant in the context of the totality and the magnitude of incidents of that kind that persist all across this country that are not part of the conversation on the nightly news. So our hearts go out to George Floyd and his family, of course. The entire community that has been torn asunder, absolutely. But we have to be more resolved now than ever to do more and be better as human beings, as parents, as leaders in our own right, and to model better behavior and soften the edges and make, in the spirit of Dr. King and Kennedy, to make more gentle the life of this world, because it was King, just like Father Cause, that reminded all of us that we're all bound together by a web of mutuality, that we're all in this together. There's no leak on your side of our boat. And so in that spirit of the Commonwealth and that spirit that defines the best of our state, the best of our nation, and what we promote and what we promise, I hope we can all just practice a little bit more and lean into this moment and make this moment more meaningful, not just in the spirit of a young man whose life was taken away, but in the spirit of so many lives that are impacted every single day through structural racism and through our incapacity as a society to wake up to the realities that persist all across this state and all across this nation. Institutions, large and small, that fundamentally have to change, not least of which our criminal justice institution. We can do more, we can do better, and so forgive me for being long-winded. There's no script here, for being a little circuitous in my comments and perhaps commentary, but I would be remiss if I just again, express as a point of privilege, a point of view, again, humbly, with a deep recognition that we have a lot of work to do. And I'm resolved to doing that work with each and every one of you and to bring people together at a time when we so desperately need people to focus on what we have in common. And my gosh, is that overwhelming what we have in common. And so let us commit ourselves to that in the spirit of this moment and of the spirit of this weekend, where I pray that all of us that want to express ourselves do so thoughtfully and gently, but forcefully in terms of expressing themselves as they should and as they must, so that we collectively can not only hear your voice, but we can resolve to do something with the lesson that we learn if just we take the time to listen, finally listen, and do more and do better. So that's how I wanted to begin